Maybe you should try the senior center, Pops. That's what the gym manager suggested when I struggled with the 45-pound bar last month. The TikTok kids filmed my shaking arms for their Gym Fails compilation. 2.3 million views of me failing to lift what they warm up with. But when that Honda CR-V flipped and caught fire in the parking lot, trapping Jessica Martinez and her 8-month-old daughter, those same kids stood frozen while weak-old Frank became something else. My name is Sergeant Major Frank Kowalski, and this is what happens when adrenaline meets a lifetime of never leaving anyone behind. I joined Gold's Gym in Mesa, Arizona, 3 years ago. Not to become a bodybuilder at 68, but because the VA physical therapist said it was that or a wheelchair by 70. 42 years in the Army Rangers left me with a collection of injuries that read like a medical textbook. Compressed L4 L5 vertebrae, torn rotator cuffs in both shoulders, knee replacements, enough shrapnel to set off metal detectors, and hands that shake from nerve damage. Just maintain what mobility you have, the therapist said. Light weights, gentle movements, nothing over 50 pounds ever again. Gold's Gym wasn't my first choice. Too young, too loud, too focused on Instagram perfection. But it was close to my apartment, had a heated pool for my joints, and gave a veteran discount. I figured I could ignore the judgment and focus on not becoming wheelchair-bound. I was wrong about the ignoring part. Yo, check out Grandpa, I heard the first week, struggling to unrack the empty barbell. My girl lifts more than that. I kept my head down, did my exercises. 15-pound dumbbells for chest press. 10-pound plates on the barbell for squats. The assisted pull-up machine set to maximum assistance. Every movement hurt, but hurt meant I was still moving. The mockery escalated from whispers to open laughter. Someone created an Instagram account, at Featherweight Frank. Videos of me shaking through quarter-rep squats. Photos of me using the pink dumbbells. Memes comparing my lifts to what their girlfriends warmed up with. Brad, the afternoon shift trainer, was the worst. 25, spray-tanned, more chemicals in his system than a pharmacy. He'd follow me around, offering to teach me real lifting. Frank, my man, you're wasting your time with baby weights. Let me show you how to build actual muscle. I'm not trying to build muscle, I'd explain. I'm trying to keep walking. That defeatist attitude is why you're weak, bro. Mind over matter, mind over matter. Kid had no idea. I'd used mind over matter to carry 2 wounded Rangers 6 miles through Afghan mountains with 3 bullets in my own back. But that was 2002. This was 2024, and my matter was falling apart despite my mind. The worst day came in February. I was doing my usual deadlifts, 85 pounds, my absolute max. The bar slipped from my nerve-damaged hands, crashed to the floor. The entire gym turned to stare. Brad was live streaming. Guys, you seeing this? Frank just dropped less than 100 pounds. This is why we don't skip grip day. The video went viral. Weakest man in gym can't hold 85 pounds. 2.3 million views. Comments about how I should be in a nursing home, how I was wasting gym space, how pathetic old men shouldn't try to lift. Mike, the gym manager, called me into his office the next week. Frank, we need to talk about safety. Maybe a senior-focused facility would be better for your limitations. I'm not hurting anyone, I said. You're creating liability. What if you drop weight on someone? What if you hurt yourself? We have a reputation. A reputation for what? Making fun of veterans trying to stay mobile. He showed me printouts of online reviews. Gym is great, but there's this old guy who creeps everyone out with his weak lifts. Watched Grandpa almost die trying to squat the bar. Go to Gold's if you want to see the world's weakest man. Give me 3 months, I said. If I cause any actual problems, I'll leave. He agreed reluctantly. I kept coming at 5 a.m. the dead time when serious lifters were sleeping off their supplements and Instagram models hadn't done their makeup yet. Just me, my light weights, and the pain of staying functional. March 15th was a beautiful day. 70 degrees, clear skies, the kind of Arizona morning that makes you forget the desert wants to kill you. I'd finished my workout, if you could call it that, and was heading to my truck when I heard the sound. Screeching tires, crunching metal, that specific percussion of safety glass exploding. A Honda CR-V had been T-boned at the parking lot exit, flipped twice, landed on its passenger side right next to the gym's front door. The TikTok brigade poured out, phones already recording. Brad was narrating for his followers. "Oh shit, guys, accident literally at the gym. This is insane." I moved toward the vehicle, smoke pouring from the engine, fluids leaking, that acrid smell of electrical fire starting. And from inside crying, not adult crying, baby crying. "Someone call 911, a girl yelled, filming steadily. "Stay back," another shouted. "It might explode." They formed a perfect circle, 20 feet away, cameras pointed at tragedy like it was content. I looked through the shattered rear window. Jessica Martinez, early 30s, unconscious, blood on her forehead, suspended sideways by her seatbelt. And in the back, still in her car seat but crushed against the pavement side, a baby. 8 months old maybe, screaming but alive. "We need to get them out," I said. "Fire department's coming," Brad said, still filming. "Don't be a hero, Frank." The engine fire was growing. Black smoke now, meaning plastics were burning. In about 2 minutes the interior would be an oven. Fire department was at least 5 out. I tried the doors, locked or jammed from impact. The opening was the rear window, but the car's weight had settled, crushing the baby's side down. To get them out, someone would have to lift the vehicle. Not just rock it, lift it. "Help me," I shouted at the circle of fitness influencers. "We need to lift this side." "Dude, that car weighs like 3,000 pounds, someone said. "That's impossible." "Brad," I grabbed his massive arm. "You deadlift 500, help me." He actually stepped back. "Bro, I'm not risking injury. Regionals are next month." They weren't going to help. 20 people with more muscle mass than a football team, and they weren't going to help because it might affect their gains or their content creation. The baby's crying was getting weaker. I positioned myself at the vehicle's center point, found the frame rail, strongest part, least likely to cut my hands to ribbons, set my feet like I was about to do the world's worst deadlift. "Frank, don't," someone yelled. "You can't even lift 100 pounds. They were right. I couldn't lift 100 pounds. On my best day, with perfect form and warm-up, 85 was my limit. This was 3,000 pounds of Honda engineering sitting on a baby. But here's what those kids didn't understand. There's gym strong, and there's survival strong. There's what your muscles can do and what your soul demands. There's weight room failure, and there's the failure of leaving someone behind. I pulled, not with my destroyed back or torn shoulders or arthritis-riddled hands. I pulled with every brother I'd carried, every life I'd saved, every impossible thing the Rangers had asked my body to do. I pulled with 42 years of Rangers lead the way and leave no one behind, and failure is not an option. The car moved. An inch, 2 inches. "Holy shit," Brad whispered, camera shaking. "He's actually—" "Get them out," I roared, voice hitting command frequencies I hadn't used in decades. The spell broke. 2 guys scrambled forward, reached through the window. The baby first handed off to someone who actually put down their phone. Then Jessica, unconscious but breathing, dragged free as I held 3,000 pounds of burning Honda off the ground. "Clear," someone yelled. I let go. The car slammed down, windows exploding from the impact. My knees buckled. Vision went white. Something in my back made a sound like breaking kindling. But they were out. They were safe. I fell to my hands and knees. body screaming in languages pain hadn't spoken since Afghanistan. Blood dripped from my palms where the frame had cut through calluses. My spine felt like it was full of broken glass. Frank, someone was beside me. Brad, of all people. Jesus Christ, how did you? That was impossible. No such thing, I gasped. Just improbable. The paramedics arrived, wanted to board me immediately. I refused until they checked Jessica and the baby. Concussion for mom, scared but uninjured for baby. Both would be fine. That's all that mattered. Sir, you need medical attention, the paramedic insisted, looking at my bloody hands and obvious spinal distress. I've had worse, I said, which was true but unhelpful. Mike, the gym manager, was there now, staring at me like I'd grown a second head. Frank, the security footage, you lifted. That's not possible. Told you I wouldn't cause problems, I managed, trying to smile through the pain. The aftermath was surreal. Brad's live stream of my impossible deadlift went mega viral. 50 million views and climbing. News crews wanted interviews. Physicists wanted to study how a man who couldn't lift 100 pounds had lifted 3,000. Hysterical strength, the experts said. Adrenaline can make the body do impossible things. But that wasn't the whole truth. Adrenaline helps, but it can't create strength from nothing. What it does is remove the governors, lets you use everything you have, consequences be damned. Those kids at the gym were strong, but they'd never needed their strength for anything but vanity. They protected their bodies because their bodies were their identity. My body was just meat that carried my purpose. And my purpose had always been the same: save lives, complete the mission, leave no one behind. The hospital kept me for 3 days. Compressed fractures in vertebrae that were already compressed, torn muscles that were already torn. Damage on top of damage. The orthopedic surgeon was blunt. You've set your recovery back years, maybe permanently. Was it worth it? I thought about Jessica Martinez holding her daughter in the hospital room next door. Yes, you could have been paralyzed, killed. But I wasn't, and they weren't. He shook his head. Heroes and idiots look the same in X-rays. When I returned to Gold's Gym a week later, everything had changed. The at featherweight Frank Instagram was gone. In its place, people had created tribute pages. The strongest man at Gold's Gym. When weak Frank became Superman. Real strength has nothing to do with numbers. Brad met me at the door, actually held it open. Frank, man, I'm so sorry. I was such a dick. I thought, I didn't understand. You still don't, I said, not unkindly. But that's okay. You will someday. Mike had laminated a new sign. At Gold's Gym, we measure strength not by what you lift, but by who you lift up. Inspired by Frank Kowalski, the strongest man we know. Nice sentiment. I still couldn't lift more than 65 pounds now. The heroic deadlift had cost me 20 pounds of capacity. The young lifters watched me struggle with weights that wouldn't challenge a child, but now they watched with respect instead of mockery. Can you teach us? One asked. Jordan, I think. 19, built like a Greek statue. Teach you what? I can't teach you to lift heavy. No, he said, teach us when to lift heavy. The difference between gym strength and whatever you did. So I did. Not formal classes, just conversations between sets, about service, about purpose, about how the body is capable of impossible things when someone else's life depends on it, about how every ounce of strength you build should be ready to spend on someone who needs it. Jessica came by the gym last week, brought baby Sophia, healthy and giggling. The gym bros who'd stood in a circle filming were now cooing over a baby, some looking ashamed. I don't know how to thank you, Jessica said. You just did, I told her, watching Sophia grab Brad's finger with tiny, perfect hands. The doctor said another minute and she couldn't finish. But it wasn't another minute, it was exactly the right minute. She hugged me carefully, mindful of my still healing back. They said what you did was impossible. The weight, your age, your injuries. Rangers don't believe in impossible, I said. We just believe in necessary. I still go to Gold's every morning at 5 a.m., still lift my pathetic weights, still shake through exercises that teenagers do for warm-ups. But now the gym bros nod with respect. Some join me, working mobility instead of mass, function instead of form. Brad posts different content now. Less about his abs, more about adaptive fitness for injured veterans. He's raised $50,000 for the VA physical therapy program. Not bad for a kid who wouldn't risk his gains. The security footage of my impossible lift has been analyzed by sports scientists, physics professors, strength coaches. They all say the same thing: can't be done. The human body, especially a damaged 68-year-old body, cannot generate that much force. They're probably right, but they're measuring the wrong thing. They're measuring muscles and joints and leverage. They should be measuring will, purpose, the accumulated strength of every impossible thing you've ever done because failure meant someone died. I bench pressed 65 pounds this morning. Needed help from Brad to rack it. My hands shook. My back screamed. The young lifters didn't laugh. They understood now that strength isn't what you can lift, it's what you're willing to lift when it matters. Frank, Brad asked during my cooldown stretches, do you regret it, the damage? You'll probably never walk normal again. I thought about Jessica and Sophia, alive and together. About the circle of phones that had finally been lowered to help. About kids learning that muscles without purpose are just meat. Son, I said, I've been not walking normal since 1982. At least this limp comes with a baby's laugh instead of a folded flag. He nodded like he understood. Maybe he did. Maybe these kids were learning what the Rangers taught me decades ago. Your body is not yours. It's a tool for the mission. And the mission is always the same: protect those who can't protect themselves. Even if it means deadlifting the impossible. Even if it costs you everything. Especially then. Rangers lead the way. Even old, broken Rangers who shake trying to lift pink dumbbells. When the moment comes, when lives hang in the balance, we lift what needs lifting. That's not hysterical strength. That's Ranger strength. And it doesn't show up in gym stats.